You have been a very good boy. One of these, right, boy? It is an abscess, not a tumor. He's going to BK. He changed into moments away from losing his exceptional pal forever. At the vet's office, a heartbroken guy clung to his German shepherd, tears streaming down his face. However, when the dog wrapped his paws round his owner in a very last desperate hug, the whole lot modified. What the vet observed next greatly surprised absolutely everyone. Lee Veterinary Hospital changed into strangely quiet that morning. The best sound changed into the soft tapping of paws on tile, accompanied by gradual, reluctant footsteps. Michael walked beside Buddy, his loyal German shepherd. For 12 years, Pal were his shadow, his protector, his first-rate friend. However now, Pal's once shiny eyes had been stupid with ache. His frame became frail. Every breath was worked. The most cancers had spread to some distance. The vets had achieved the entirety they may. This go-to wasn't for treatment. It became goodbye. Michael's coronary heart ached with every step. Recollections flooded in. Friend as an inept pup racing through the outdoor. Pal curled up beside him at some point of sleepless nights. Buddy barking fiercely when strangers came too near. They had shared a bond no words may want to capture, and now it was time to let cross. The sterile scent of the clinic felt suffocating. Michael's grip tightened at the leash, wishing desperately for more time. He had promised himself he would not let Buddy go through. But now that promise felt like a betrayal. The examination room door opened. The vet greeted him with a sympathetic nod. No phrases were needed. Michael knelt beside Pal, lightly stroking his fur. His voice cracked. "You're an awesome boy, Buddy." The quality tears blurred his vision. He kept talking. Soft, constant reassurances. He had to be sturdy for Buddy. However, deep down he changed into breaking as Michael sat beside Buddy. The weight of the moment overwhelmed him. His arms tangled within the dog's fur, stroking gently, memorizing every texture. The vet organized quietly in the heritage, giving them those very last treasured moments. However, then something came about. Something Michael would never neglect. With surprising energy, Friend shifted closer. Slowly, deliberately, he lifted his front paws and wrapped them around Michael's neck. It wasn't clumsy. It wasn't instinctual. It became a hug. An actual desperate hug. His big head pressed against Michael's cheek, as though he understood the entirety. Michael's breath caught. His palms instinctively wrapped round Friend, pulling him near. The tears he'd been retaining, broke loose. He sobbed into Buddy's fur, shoulders shaking, beaten by using the uncooked emotion of that simple gesture. It was as if Buddy became pronouncing, "I am not equipped to move. Please, no longer yet." The health center team of workers paused. Even the vet, someone who had seen infinite goodbyes, stood frozen. The room turned into silent, except for the soft sounds of a man's sobs and a dog's gentle breathing. The hug turned into more than a moment. It changed into a plea. Michael whispered through his tears, "I love you, pal. Thank you for the entirety." But as he clung to Friend, something stirred inside the vet's thoughts. An unease, a query. There was something unusual. No longer just emotionally, however bodily. The manner Friend had lifted his paws, the tension in his muscle tissues, the manner his frame resisted gravity. He changed into supposed to be too vulnerable, too far long past. Cancer should have left him barely capable of stand. But right here he turned into protecting, on with sudden strength. The vet frowned, his clinical instincts flared. Something wasn't proper. He crouched beside them, careful not to disturb the instant. With mild fingers, he felt along Buddy's spine, shoulders and stomach. It really is, when he observed it, a subtle cringe. Not the dull ache of tumors, but a sharp localized response. "Now not cancer, something else." Vet exchanged a glance together with his assistant. Quietly, he asked, whilst become the remaining full-body scan. Michael wiped his tears, pressured some weeks in the past. They stated it was too late. The vet's brow furrowed. He pressed again. Buddy whimpered softly, but no longer from weak spot, from discomfort, like something foreign become urgent inside. A sudden concept struck him. May want to this be a misdiagnosis. He stood suddenly, stopped the whole lot, he stated, voice firm. The assistant's eyes widened. Michael seemed up, coronary heart pounding. What do you suggest? The vet did not answer. As a substitute, he called for the transportable ultrasound. His fingers moved rapid, professional, but his face betrayed urgency. Desire turned into risky. Yet it crept in. They were incorrect. The assistant wheeled inside the system. Gel was applied. The display screen flickered to existence. Shades of black, white, and gray. Vet adjusted the probe, scanning with precision. Then he paused. His jaw tightened. There, he muttered, pointing at an uncommon shadow. It wasn't a tumor. No longer like the idea. The mass became urgent on organs. Yes, however, the edges have been too clean, too described. The vet's eyes widened. It's an overseas object, he stated, stunned. A huge abscess, possibly from a vintage injury. It is inflicting intense irritation, mimicking past juvenile cancer signs and symptoms. Michael stared. Are you saying this is not cancer? The vet checked out him cautiously. It's critical but treatable. If we operate now, Buddy has an actual danger. Michael's palms trembled. Moments in the past, he changed into getting ready to say goodbye for all time. Now, desire roared again to existence. Tears spilled once more. But this time, they have been distinct. This time, they have been tears of desire. The medical institution, once filled with grief, now buzzed with urgency and careful optimism. Micah watched as the group prepped Pal for emergency surgical procedure. Just minutes ago, he changed into saying goodbye. Now he became praying for a miracle. Pal appeared up at him from the gurney, eyes worn out but calm. That same unstated connection surpassed among them. Accept as true, with loyalty, love. Michael bent down and whispered, "Hold in there, Buddy." We are no longer carried out, but the surgical operation lasted over hours. Michael waited out of doors, fingers clenched, unable to sit nonetheless. Every second dragged like an eternity. Nurses surpassed with the aid of with updates, but no person could say for sure. In the end, the vet emerged, gloves off, face unreadable. Then, slowly, he smiled. "We got it all," he said. "Pal is solid. It was an infected abscess, probably from an old injury. Now not most cancers. No longer terminal." Michael's knees nearly gave out. He blanketed his face, tears falling freely. Alleviation, pleasure, disbelief fall crashing into him at once. Buddy had been given a second chance. And all of it commenced with one hug that modified the whole thing. Weeks later, Pal stood at the porch, tail wagging, chasing butterflies within the yard. Stronger, happier, alive. Michael watched from the doorway, a coffee in hand, a grin on his face. He were prepared to allow pass. However, friend wasn't ready to leave, and in that final hug, the canine didn't simply say goodbye, he said, "Fight for me." This story reminds us that love would not need words. Every so often, it speaks in silence. Now and again, it comes in the form of a hug from a dog who is not prepared to move. If an animal has ever saved your life, percentage your tail inside the remarks. Like, proportion, and enroll in Help Us Hold, sharing those powerful stories of loyalty, recuperation, and 2D chances. Your subsequent adventure begins proper now on the screen in the front of you.